Welcome everybody to the latest edition of the Inside Track. Fantastic guest this afternoon, which is Sohail Rashid. How are you?
I'm good, Ryan. I'm good. Thank you very much.
Great. Now, obviously, most people, especially in the UK, probably know who you are by now with all the work that you guys have been doing at Brawn over the last sort of 2-3 years.
Yeah.
But I think it's probably a good place to start to sort of give people a background of who Sohail is, what you've done in the past, and what sort of brought you to where you are now.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I mean, first of all, thanks for having us. Appreciate it. So,
absolutely.
I spent prior to Brawn 12 years working in prop tech and fintech. So I built data and technology businesses to help improve the home moving process.
Okay.
And it was about 8 years ago that I also started powerlifting. So kind of got into weight training and strength training because I wanted to have something that was competitive but wasn't a team sport. It's easier to fit around kids and work, and it was something that I've always trained recreationally, but I wanted to kind of add a competitive edge to my training. Became very addicted to the benefits of strength training. It's quite binary.
Absolutely.
Like the amount of Google Sheets I had, body weight on bar, reps and sets at the end of every training cycle, and I could see how like progression was building over time. That led on to, I think probably about 8 years ago, where I said, why is there no Strava for strength training? That community exists. It's fragmented across Instagram and WhatsApp, growing trends of people interested in education and awareness of the benefits of it. And yeah, the vision was born 8 years ago. And in 2019, I started working on the idea of a community platform for people that enjoy strength training. And in 2020, we were approached by the global major federations, particularly in powerlifting, to host virtual events. So we hosted some of the largest ever strength-based virtual events for the best part of 2 years.
Wow.
Partnered with major brands like Gymshark, MyProtein, Eleiko. And then in 2022, we started partnering with gyms. So we brought that technology to the gym floor. There's lots and lots of wearable hardware, heart tracking, endurance-based technology out there that gamifies effort based on heart rate and endurance activities, but there's nothing that does that for strength training. So the gyms are crying out for a tool that enables members to gamify their strength training and wear the right products at the right time to kind of provide a solution for that need. And
that's the challenge, isn't it? Because if you look and you sort of go, well, okay, anything like obviously not to push other brands, but the likes of MyZone and things like that, it's very much based around heart rate. And I guess with strength, that doesn't work. I mean, it's quite interesting because I do a bit of work for Vitality, the insurance company, and the way they track their points is all around either steps or heart rate. Now, if you do strength training, it's almost impossible. You can do it if you have an Apple Watch. They've integrated quite well with Apple. But if you've got anything else, you can't gain the points then to register into Vitality, simply because they base it all around your heart rate and exertion that way. And I guess where you guys are taking it, gone, okay, strength training doesn't work that way, so we need to find a new route around it.
Yeah, I mean, Brawn exists to create a community platform for people that enjoy strength training. And what we have learned along the way, as you do with a technology startup, is that the customer needs are one. So the gyms want to use it for member engagement, retention, but then also to create more leads for personal small group training, which is a huge value add from our product. The end user, the gym member, they want to be digital, as you just said. They want to be digitally rewarded for their strength training in the gym. And at the moment, there isn't a way for that to happen. We're really excited about what we've done. I think it's good that we get, obviously, the opportunity to speak to people like you. And the gyms love us.
And so, how does Brawn work? How does it work in the gym? So, I'm a gym owner. I come obviously work with you guys. How do you guys integrate then your system into the gym to obviously get all these great benefits of community and feedback for the clients?
Yeah, so Brawn helps connect members to their gym, and more importantly, with other members that enjoy strength training. And that's the primary focus of of the product. We do that through our app, and really, and this is one of the key learnings is challenges. So gym floor challenges, which are typically done on a whiteboard, aren't followed up. They're not done consistently, and they don't really get huge amounts of penetration for that reason. But people actually enjoy doing a challenge. But there needs to be an endpoint, there needs to be a reason to repeat and engage. So by digitalizing the gym floor challenge and almost in effect throwing away the whiteboard and the hours spent trying to create challenges and then get people to sign up, just put Brawn in, because every Sunday at 5 p.m. we have new content that goes out for the week. There's a new set of workouts. So we have a workout of the week that runs in every single one of our clubs. We have a set of challenges, which is everything from AMRAPs to total kind of weight lifted, for newbies all the way up to people that are kind of slightly competitive. And at the end of every Sunday, the challenge closes. The data all goes back to the operator. So the operator gets to see which members have participated in what challenges, what they want, what they like, what they don't like, which ones are interested in personal training, which ones are interested in training with other people like them, which is really unique data that can help gyms increase member conversion, and also generate and grow secondary spend, which in this market is strategically important to gyms of all shapes and sizes. So that's how Brawn works. We have our own app and everything's run through the app, but we are open to third-party integrations. We're yet to actually partner with a gym where they've taken that on board. Lots of gyms want to provide that single digital solution, but I suppose if we do it so well in our app, then why kind of replicate it is a lot of feedback that we have.
Okay.
The good news, obviously, for it being a standalone app, is that it doesn't require gyms to spend much on hardware or third-party technology solutions to adopt the product, and it becomes a nice free to access member benefit for their members.
And is it the gym paying for the process? Is it the client that signs up to it? How does that work?
Yeah, no, there isn't anything the consumer needs to spend money on. So the consumer gets it within their gym membership. You don't need to buy anything additional to make it work, which is why we get such high penetration in the gyms that we're in.
Absolutely reduces the barrier to entry, doesn't it? By not having that added spend, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, and it's a single license fee to the gym, which makes it. And generally, there's no add-ons. There's unlimited number of challenges, unlimited number of members, which makes it really attractive and affordable for the gyms immediately.
And obviously, a lot of this was based around your desire to put communities into clubs. Do you think there was a massive challenge in a sense of where clubs were before you guys looked at this?
No, I think the initial kind of friction that we had was that it was perceived to be very much focused towards leaderboards and powerlifters and basically the strong guys that were always going to hit kind of big numbers in the gym. And it took a lot. We're a product-led business, and we're very user-focused. And a lot of the feedback that we got, for example, was that actually kilograms is quite off-putting. Like if you see somebody smash a 200 kilogram deadlift, you go, oh, that's not for me because I can't hit those numbers. So one of the metrics that we created for the virtual events in 2020 and 2021 was, at the time it was called VIPs, it's now called intensity points. So we standardize body weight, age, gender, take into consideration training experience, and then provide a points-based score, based on weight on bar, reps and sets. So we initially did it to enable 3-rep competitions, or for a powerlifter to compare a 1-rep max against 5 reps, which was more impressive, my 120 kg 5x5 or 140 kg 1-rep max. And powerlifters have argued about this for years, and it was Andy Smith, one of the early co-founders, that actually said if we could fix that problem for powerlifters, it'll help solve a lot of arguments on the gym floor. What we learned was actually if we replace kilograms on a leaderboard to points, you can get guys versus girls, heavyweights versus lightweights, and it enables fair and equal competition across the gym floor. Which,
and that's the point, isn't it? Where you've got a gym that can range from beginners to, I mean, I train at a leisure centre, and even there, you've got the lads in there that have done powerlifting like yourself, and they're, I mean, bench pressing 130, 141, you know what I mean? And I mean, for the likes of me, more than 70, 80 is where I'm at. So you're sort of looking at it going, you need something that allows everybody to compete on almost on a fair playing field, don't you? To make sure you get that engagement. Otherwise, like you say, you only get that 1 or 2% at the top who are willing to compete because they're the only ones likely to win it.
Yeah, I mean, we work with boutique gyms where you've got heavy lifters, okay? But then we've also got boutique gyms where there's one in particular, Extreme Fitness. There's a 76-year-old chap who's been lifting for years, but he can't hit the numbers that the others the younger audience hit. Yeah. He loves intensity points because he's going toe for toe for somebody 30 years younger, and actually his numbers are incredibly impressive, and they get recognized through the point score, whereas under kg they get lost, which is really, really interesting. And then you've also got leisure centers where the fastest growing kind of demographic participating in strength training in their learn to lift classes are females, and they want to show the rest of the gym membership their progress, and doing it through a point score rather than kilograms gives them more confidence because they're actually able to show and demonstrate their relative strength and their progression.
Absolutely. And in terms of, obviously, your app allows people to track their progress, which is half the battle. Like you said before, you used to have all these Excel sheets and everything else, and you guys have made that simple so that obviously people are training this, they're able to track as they're improving.
Yeah. So you'll get intensity points as you complete your workout sessions, which over time. So initially it's workout to workout. You can see which workout was more intense, and then 2 over weeks, and then 3 over months. And obviously the holy grail for either muscle gain or strength gain or any kind of lifting related progress is progressive overload. So obviously the easiest way to ensure that you're increasing your progressive overload is kilograms or reps, whereas actually using intensity score will enable you to take to consideration all ranges of exercise and movements and see how your intensity points kind of move from session to session, week to week, and month to month. So we believe that that's going to be more accessible and inclusive for people that don't really want to increase kilograms every single week, and they don't know what to track and don't know what to measure, but they want to make sure that they don't plateau and they're consistently progressing. So intensity points has served a number of different purposes. Like I said, initially it was for international gamification for competitive lifters. Now it's for competitive, relative, kind of fair and equal competition in the gym floor. And then you're right, the other area where we're seeing more and more usage is around the you versus you. So how's your progress change, and how do you track your progress over time?
And I mean, you guys, because obviously you set this up doing these competitions. Are you guys still doing those competitions, except you're just doing it on the floor? Or how's that going with the competition stuff?
So it's in gym challenges. So you can, as a member, so if you go to a gym that's a Brawn partner, you'll be able to go head to head with other members. You'll be able to go head to head with other gyms, and you'll be able to do gym versus gym competition. So there's a number of different challenges. The workout of the week, you're going against the Brawn community, you're going against other members that are like you in the gym, and you're also going against yourself. So people often see the word challenges and competition and go, oh, no, I'm not competitive. Everybody's competitive. Like there's just different levels of it. And I think that the most basic level of competition is against yourself. Can I be better today? And that's the whole premise of being able to track what you did yesterday or track what you've done today. So that tomorrow you push yourself a little bit more.
Absolutely, and that's the whole idea. And I'm assuming the clubs that you work with have seen significant improvements in their retention, have they, since they've brought these sorts of things on board?
So our key kind of measures of success in a club is increased participation in challenges, repeat participation in challenges, and then from an operator's point of view, how they then move that member forward. So for some members, it is I'm new to strength training, and the progression is consistent training, which obviously lends itself to better retention. And then two, for members where they are interested in personal or small group training, it helps them create that relationship with the trainer, the PT, and then for the gym, the value add, the value creation is secondary spend. It's not about making the strong stronger. That's kind of one thing that we've moved far away from.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? You sort of, if you've got a strength sort of program and app, the first thing people are going to look at is it's obviously there to help improve our strength and everything else. But you guys, and every time we've spoken, it's always about improving the business structure as well. Not just, it obviously gives the community, it gives the club the ability to grow in a different way. But that's the main focus, really, is to help them build that community, increase spend and retention.
Yeah, the big opportunity for gyms is the percentage of new members that are interested in strength training but don't have the confidence or the education to go do it. And how do you help those? Because onboarding, the classic checklist onboarding is gone. And the bigger the gym, the busier the gym, the more commercial the gym, the bigger the issue. So providing a tool that can enable digital onboarding for people interested in strength training is going to, one, give the member what they want and what they need, which then lends itself to better retention, and then two, helps the gym upsell its other products and services. So that makes Brawn part of the gym's product, which is obviously important to us, but it really differentiates that gym from other gyms. And we're not talking about single digit percentage penetration. You don't have to buy a belt to use our product. Therefore, it's far more accessible to a much larger segment. If you're a new gym member and this is part of the product, i.e. the gym membership, you're more inclined to use it. And we tend to see much better adoption to the service, to the product by new members as well.
I mean, I must admit, when I've worked in clubs where the client isn't having to buy something, pay extra or whatever, it's usually a quicker uptake. And once you've got them on it, it's more likely you can keep that and keep them repeating that action, because that's what you want to do. You need to get them on there, get them used to it, and then get them repeating what they've been taught. So that's obviously a massive thing. Now, to go on slightly, so change tack slightly, because I mean, obviously it's an amazing program. Now, you guys have grown pretty quick since coming on board, and a lot of the stuff you guys were doing was around the pandemic or just after, and literally it's gone mad since. I mean, you had some great launches at Ministry down south. I mean, what sort of things have you guys been doing? I mean, talk us through what you've been doing to drive the awareness of it.
Yeah, we targeted the London boutiques, the trendsetters, kind of the global leaders in innovation. So those big, strong London boutique brands, which you've seen, and the Ministry of Sound. So Kate at the Ministry has been a big fan and a big supporter of Brawn from day one. They were the first club in London to adopt the product. We've learned so much from that experience. Followed quickly by Jubilee Hall, John Giles and Oliver Dean there being great early advocates of the product as well. And that enabled us to really understand what that lifting community in the gym needs and wants from Brawn. And then from there, we've started now partnering with some of the larger commercial gym chains and some of the larger brands outside of London. And it's a really exciting year for us because we've got a lot of things going on that people don't yet know. So last year we had the Ministry of Sound launch party in April, which was a huge success.
It did look good fun. I must admit, seeing all the social stuff, it was one of those events that you get a bit of FOMO from. You go, oh, that looked an amazing event to be at.
Yeah, it's the first time that there's been a lifting event of that style at the Ministry or at any nightclub venue. The next event that we're announcing the next couple of weeks is really building on that. And it's a good showcase event for us to not only show where the product has got to, but more importantly, how big the Brawn community really is now. So we're now running a Beta 200 program, which I know that you're aware of, which is where independent gyms can have a real input on where this product goes. Because I honestly believe that connected lifting, which is what Brawn is building, is going to be bigger than the likes of Zwift. It's going to be bigger than connected cycling, because I think more people strength train than people actually think. The fastest growing demographics of strength training is over 55s and actually young teenagers. So it's getting wider as well as deeper. And I think that the opportunity for us as a brand to enable the Brawn community to kind of express itself at the next event is going to be really, really exciting. And there's an opportunity because last time it was a closed event, it was just for our early adopters and our partners.
Yeah.
There will be an opportunity for members to be involved in this next one. It's as you can probably tell from the grin, I'm super excited and trying my best not to give too much away.
No, well, I won't poke you on that one. Then we'll wait for the official launch. It's I mean, every time I look, there's something else going on with you guys in terms of there's a new board member coming in. There's a new person coming on to drive something else. Now, I've been talking to you guys in the background about your Beta 200 program. I don't know whether you want to talk that through in terms of a little bit more about what it is in case clubs wanted to get on board with you.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's a fast evolving program. We've had bags of interest from people that want to be involved either as part of the actual program itself or actually join the program as a gym. So in short, we know that in order to create a community platform, the community needs to really own part of the strategy. They need to be a pivotal part on the decision making of how it looks and feels, what it does, who it's speaking to, and where it goes. So the Beta 200 program will enable independent gyms to get early access to features before anybody else. Do you know what I mean? They will be in the know before anybody else on what's coming. They'll be able to give us feedback directly. We're from the north, so you can speak as candidly as you want, but they'll be able to give us feedback directly on what they want and why they want it. And they'll be able to really own and shape where Brawn takes connected lifting, because at the end of the day, lifting, unlike running, unlike cycling, unlike swimming, lifting happens in the gym on the weight training area of the gym floor. And more and more square footage of every single gym is now being occupied by strength and resistance equipment over anything else. That is probably the most important segment of your audience. And who knows better about what they want than that audience, the personal trainers and those gym operators and those gym owners. So the Beta 200 enables that segment of the community to have a real voice in shaping the product. And I don't think that's ever happened before. I don't think that's ever happened where a new incumbent has come in and said, actually, we want the stakeholders to have a big say in where we take this. And yeah, we're really, really excited by the feedback that we've had on it and the big names that are going to be involved. But more importantly, the number of inbound inquiries we're getting from independent gym owners saying, I've heard about Brawn, I want to be involved, and I've got some ideas. For me, that is the most valuable, I don't even want to call them customers, most valuable part of the community. So I mean, forward thinking, bringing something to the table, and willing and wanting to share their opinion.
I think the great thing is your business is built around developing communities within clubs. And I think what you're doing is taking that idea and going, right, we need to develop a community for our business as well. So we're not creating communities for others. We're creating a community which helps drive all those other communities. And I think that's where you guys are trying to go with it. And I think it's an interesting development, and I think it's a great way for you guys to drive ideas for starters, and secondly, innovation. I think that's where it comes from.
It's very natural to us because of some of our personal experiences with strength training. I mean, I was a latecomer to strength training. I started when I was 30, and what I got out of strength training was nothing short of completely life-changing. I mean, the friendship circles I made, but more importantly, that sense of kind of progress, that sense of fulfillment, and I mean, I remember the beginning of every week, I would be in various WhatsApp groups and people were like, what are you training this week? What are your numbers this week? And it would give me a sense of accountability, but then also that recognition that you need to make it something that is a repeated cycle. And then it built that consistency over weeks, months, and years. and I really do feel deeply connected to the lifting community. And I know the word community gets used time and time again, but it is a real strong, no pun intended, community that needs a platform where people can find other people like them to either aspire or inspire others. And I think that is just because it's so natural and so core to the reason why Brawn was created. It's organic. Do you know what I mean? We're not trying to pretend to be a community platform. That's who we are.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes a massive difference. I mean, if you guys struggled I mean, you clearly haven't because the business is going well, but did you find it harder to get into this sort of field based on the fact there's so many different apps out there, there's so many different options for people that they can use for weight training and guidance and so on? Did you find that a difficult area to navigate, or was it pretty much because you experienced, right, we need to go in this direction, this is what we're doing?
I think because look, the marketplace is saturated with fitness and workout apps, and the reason why we haven't come across that issue whatsoever has been because we are the only app that is for the gym and their members. So we are not a direct-to-consumer app like a Strong or a Strong Lifts or a Fitbod that is looking to go direct-to-consumer. We're not a PT app like Trainerize or Train Hero. We are a app that connects members to their club and then with other members that enjoy lifting. And we actually work to generate value for both the personal trainer and the gym while solving a problem for that end user. So actually there isn't anything else in the market that does that. There is no Strava for strength. And that's been our line since day one. Like, why does that community not exist? Well, it does. We're just going to facilitate the ability for that community to connect virtually.
And where do you think it will go eventually, or what's the ultimate plan with this?
Look, the personal plan here is to create a legacy brand. Sounds very cliche, but this is almost like a family business. My children are very kind of involved in the whole Brawn experience and what it's about. This is something that I think the brand Brawn will be synonymous with strength training in years to come, and I think that we'll be able to connect an audience that's literally hundreds of millions, and provide them with everything that they need on their strength training journey. So there is no end destination with this. I've done 2-3 businesses before, and they've all had a clear exit plan and exit strategy. And do you know what I mean? What's your 3-year plan, your 5-year vision? Where do you see it in 10 years' time? There's no end game here. This goes on forever. You don't stop exercising. I think particularly with, I don't know if it's a personal trend or I've just become more aware of it, but there's more awareness around the benefits of longevity. And if you look at some of my LinkedIn posts, I talk quite a lot about the scientifically backed benefits to increasing your health span and longevity through things like strength training. Like, that's one of the biggest impacts. And who isn't interested in being healthier for longer? Do you know what I mean? We've got parents and then grandparents and great grandparents that want to be able to play sport with their children, their grandchildren, their great grandchildren, and we can help them achieve that. And I think that accompanied by all the other emotional and mental health benefits that you get through strength training, this is a never-ending journey. Do you know what I mean? We'll never have finished. Do you know what I mean? It'll never be job done. And I think that being able to create a community that can take that forward itself is something that we really aspire to deliver. I think we'll do.
I remember that article you were talking about, and it was quite an interesting debate or interesting conversation, because what you were saying was you don't necessarily need to live longer. What you need to do is be able to live healthier for longer. So someone in their 90s still being able to walk and be active is far better than living till 100 in literally 20 years. Since you're 80, you're almost stuck in a chair. And it's a very interesting point about being actively healthy rather than just being alive. And I think that's what the likes of strength training and being healthy and fit in your younger years gives you. Obviously, we all know strength training builds muscle, builds bone density, and all the other benefits that come with it. And I think that's a really important thing as a nation we need to understand more of.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously, aside from the Inside Track, there's another podcast that I listen to in the fitness industry called The Drive by Peter Attia, and he's the author of a book called Outlive. So it's his words, not mine. But basically, there's an old Greek mythology story of somebody who asked for immortality, but then they forgot to ask for their body to stay healthy. So they basically were in an aging body forever. And it's not about living to 120 or 130. You have to be realistic. Do you know what I mean? You are beholden to biology and science in particular, but you can increase your health span. And I believe his aspiration is, I want to be in my 90s the same as a really fit 70-year-old.
Yeah.
And if you actually think about that, how invaluable is that as an end goal, to be in your 90s, to be able to do anything you want to do and not be unable to do things because you didn't look after your body.
Well, isn't the whole thing, they reckon you've got 10 years generally of normal, of almost healthy life after you retire. And that's quite frightening when you think, I'm going to work all my life, retire at 65, 67 or whatever it is now. And by 77, that's it, call it quits. We may as well not bother. When actually we want to be really healthy, and like you say, be in your 90s and live 25, 30 years after you retire of fairly healthy, being able to do almost pretty much what you want. And I think that's what people need to understand. And I think that's where society as a whole needs to get hold of it. I mean, there's a long conversation about governments and all that sort of stuff. I'm a strong believer that they need to get behind it, and they don't. But I think if people take personal responsibility and believe and get the education they need and the support through products like yours to get them trained and get them healthy, I think it goes a long way to having a lot more healthier population in
I think that, look, the aging population is a term that gets thrown around quite a lot, but actually it's not really about an aging population, it's about a healthy population.
Yeah.
I mean, an aging population is not a problem if it's a healthy population. So that's one point. I think the government does know that. I think that, look, I know obviously you've got kids and we've had this conversation before, Ryan, but the biggest drive has got to be increase the enjoyment time with your children and their children. And for me, that's something very real. You can see it. Do you know what I mean? You can see it. There's immediate benefit, but then that lends itself to the longer term plan of actually, when I'm older, I'll be able to do more of the things that I enjoy as well. So for me, I mean, look, I think clearly that isn't a view that's kind of widely shared, and maybe I live in a little bit of a bubble because of the conversations I have. But this is part of Brawn's mission. Do you know what I mean? The part or wider mission, which is the people that aren't aware. For example, we've got users that have come to us and said, I didn't realize, and you'll laugh here, I didn't realize that weight training would help me lose weight. I thought I just had to do cardio. And I'm completely ignorant to this point of view. I'm going, what people didn't realize, that if you went to the gym, it was like fat loss areas there, which is cardio, and that's non-fat loss because it's weightlifting. And people eyes were opened because they were like, all right, so if I go there, I'm burning energy and I'm increasing muscle mass and making myself healthier and I'm losing weight, because that's actually the thing I really care about today.
The problem is, though, for decades, you're always fighting that battle against the decades of get on a treadmill, go running, go cycling, and that's how you lose weight. And weight training is about building muscle, and cardio is about weight loss. You go in there, you sweat for half an hour, and that is what it was. I mean, God, I've been in the industry 25 years, and I remember as a gym instructor that even back in the sort of mid 90s, well, late 90s, early noughts, it was still, you need to get if the weight loss, you need to get cardio in there. You need to be in the fat burning zone. But that obviously the science has changed, and everybody understands now that no, you don't need to. And I think that's why, in some respects, a lot of HIIT training, a lot of weight training has now come into the mainstream a lot more than before, because people looked at it and gone, actually, I can do that without having to hit an hour on the treadmill. And
there's loads of reasons. Look, there's loads of reasons. Like the science behind the benefits of hypertrophy and tendon health and increasing your resting metabolism, that's all relatively new, the last 3 to 5 years. You've then got obviously the perception of, I don't want to get too big, which is great. I love it when people say, I don't want to get too big. And yeah, that's why the entire world looks like bodybuilders, because it's really easy to get that big. And I think that actually understanding the functional benefits as well as the aesthetic benefits of muscle mass and maintaining strength, particularly as they get older, is just becoming more aware, because there's more people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s that have strength trained and are healthier. And I think that nothing speaks louder than actual real life case studies. And we're now lucky enough that there's enough of those walking around.
I tell you, it takes some doing to get seriously big doing weights. Let's put it that way. It's in the same way. To be fair, it takes a lot of doing if you're going to lose a lot of weight just running on a treadmill. So, but yeah, you don't get massive by just lifting a few weights. That's certainly not the thing. So what's next for Brawn? What's next for you? What's coming up?
We've got some big partnerships that are currently going live, which we'll be announcing June, July. So these are new operators, as in gyms, new third-party technology solutions that we're partnering with. We've got another major event that we're in the process of just signing off, which is coming out later this year, which will be one of the biggest kind of fitness events of the year, really. And we've got the opportunity to kind of really take advantage of where we are in the marketplace. I think that gym operators have had a good year. Do you know what I mean? I think post-COVID and the current financial climate. So. Say again?
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I don't think it's as doom and gloom as everyone's saying.
No, we're having lots and lots of positive conversations with gym operators that are actually saying, no, numbers are good, and we're wanting to kind of actually invest and improve the member experience. And I think people are willing to spend money on their health and fitness, and therefore this and it's a priority in this market. And I think that's a bit of a hotspot now for the UK to really kind of capitalize on that. And we will ride that wave. We will partner with more and more gyms, and we will kind of ensure that Brawn starts to become more immersed in the gym experience. That's our big thing. And then ultimately, as we then start to aggregate more and more members across the gym community, we can really start to allow that community to have some more power and more pull in the market. So yeah, no, exciting outlook. And yeah, very, very difficult not to share everything.
No.
For Destiny soon. And yeah.
And in terms of any sort of advice for gym owners, obviously you working in and out of the industry quite a lot now with various different brands and so on. Is there anything that's sort of standing out at the moment? You're sort of going, okay, if I had 1 or 2 points for gym owners that from our perspective, this is what we'd say?
I think, look, I think there needs to be more collaboration in the set. I've seen this. There's lots of parallels with what I saw at estate agency when I was working in prop tech, the gym world. You've got some very, very large corporates. You've got some housing associations / leisure trusts, and then you've got independents, which is actually the lion's share of the market. Loads of parallels, which I didn't expect. And I think the most successful independently owned operators, or any operator, are those that collaborate. I think that there needs to be more collaboration. I think the sector is going through a period of digital transformation, similar to what we have seen in food delivery, taxi, prop tech, and fintech. I think that we're on the cusp of a period of digitalization, and it should be embraced and it should be done collaboratively, because if the end goal is more happy gym members as a cumulative total for the nation, then everybody wins. And I think that's where the focus needs to be. And I do see a lot of open-minded operators every day. And I don't think, I'm not saying this because I think everybody's closed-minded and it's not a cohesive stakeholder group, because that's not the case. But I want more. Like I want us to get there quicker. And that's, I mean, I've been a gym goer for over 20 years, and my children already go to the gym at the age of 9 and 8. So for me, it's a very personal topic. But I'm really genuinely really, really excited about where digitalization within fitness for gyms can go. And
I think what's happening now, which is good. I think whereas before it was digital or gym, And that sort of created this barrier between the sort of going, well, okay, you either have this or this. COVID sort of brought around the hybrid and made it a little bit. But I think what's happening now is digital have realised it's not going to happen on their own. So digital isn't going to take over in any way, shape or form the brick and mortar. It's just not. And so I think what's happening now is everybody's realising actually we need to get the two together and make this work. And I think that's why digital will have a major impact. I definitely think at one point they thought it's going to be home training. That's why Peloton exploded. And they got it all wrong, and it obviously is imploding. There's quite a few that have done that. They've gone, right, it's all going to be home training, take our digital away from the gyms. In actual fact, the gyms need the digital to grow in the way that they need it to. And I think digital needs the gyms in order for their growth as well. So I think there's going to be a lot more collaboration from that side of it. I think there has to be the working together to make the two work. And when they do, and when it all comes right, I think there's going to be some amazing stuff. I still think there's grounds for VR to come into it yet. I think there's it's not right at the moment. It's still based around playing games at home and pretending to lift weights with a headset on. But I think there's definitely grounds for VR to come into it. Obviously, there's more programs and apps like yours around that will enhance the member experience. So I think the tech side of fitness is definitely on the way up. For sure.
I mean, retail is a really good sector to look at, and looking at the forever changing landscape of retail. And digital hasn't killed the high street. Do you know what I mean? It's changed it, absolutely changed it, but didn't kill it. And the difference here is that people have to rent their equipment. Okay, not many people can afford a full gym in their house. And therefore they have to rent their equipment, and they rent it through a gym membership. So it is an offline bricks and mortar service that people need. And if you can bring the digital into the gym rather than focusing on bringing digital into the house, this is my opinion, then you're going to get much closer to the end result.
Absolutely.
The consumer wants a bit of everything. The consumer wants literally a hybrid. We talk about hybrid work from home and remote, and we talk about hybrid everything. Well, actually, the consumer wants a hybrid fitness experience, and I think that we're getting there. But I mean, look, as a consumer, because that's what I am, I'm genuinely excited about what my gym experience is going to be in 5, 10, 15, 20 years time. I think a lot of people should probably just take that point of view. I mean, if you go to the gym, an hour 4 times a week, do you know what I mean? That's 4 hours. And I already kind of feel that those 4 hours are some of the best hours of the week when you're in the gym, like with your music on, doing what you're doing, or whatever, with your mates, however you like to train. But imagine if that could be even better. Do you know what I mean? Imagine if those 4 hours can be amplified through a digital or a social or an immersive or a tech experience. It's actually quite exciting. Because
absolutely.
I already love it now, and where could it go?
There's great strides ahead with that, and I'm looking forward to. And I think what COVID did, because I was speaking to someone the other day, and I said the sort of 10 years building up to COVID, we'd sort of got stale, and we're just doing the same. I mean, the only innovation really that had come out in the previous 5 years was the budget clubs. And that's not really innovation. That was just a change of model. There's nothing innovative about that, other than you didn't have any staff on the floor. So that didn't really, but that was really the only major change in our industry. You had a few boutiques doing things differently, whatever, but there was no major seismic shift. And I think what COVID did, it brought in a lot of tech very quickly as people tried to adapt. And then it got people thinking again. It started getting people adapting and go, we need this. What about this? Which they hadn't been doing for years. It was the same thing, just repeated with a bit of a flashy light here and the odd change there, but nothing major. And I think COVID brought about this seismic change to go, okay, let's rethink what we're doing. And I think since then, we've just started making major strides. Like I say, companies like yours coming in, and it's brilliant to see. And all I see going forward now is hopefully we continue that cycle of growth and redevelopment and exciting new changes for us, because we do work in the most exciting industry in the world. I honestly believe that the things we can do which a lot of other companies can't do, or other industries can't do. One, because of laws and stuff like that, but also because of what we do. It's people's leisure time. So we get an opportunity to have so much fun with it if we want to. We just got to open up and look at the opportunities.
Yeah, no, it is. I feel very lucky to be able to work in a sector that I'm genuinely passionate about, that is at the tipping point of a huge period of transformation that we've seen in those other sectors that I mentioned earlier. But more importantly, it means so much to people. I know it does. Do you know what I mean? You only need to watch the TV or listen to the radio or eavesdrop into a conversation for a few minutes and somebody talks about something that involves exercise or fitness, which is great. It's great. I mean, I agree. I think we're working in a very, very good and still relatively small sector.
What's interesting though was I don't know whether you saw the Sports England's report that came out, and it was something like over 60% of the population are exercising for the 150 minutes a week. Obviously not in gyms. That's only 15%. But 60%, up to 60% of the population were, and you're like, that's really, because generally we look at it, and in our sector we go 15%, that's rubbish, it needs to be higher. But then we sort of go, well, actually, you need to consider how many people play sports, how many people go for walks, how many people do all cycle and everything outside of a gym. And for a population to be 50% and above of the population, okay, it's not perfect, but I think that's quite a significant number. And I think what we've just got to do as an industry, we've got to get them so they're still participating in their sport and their cycling, but get them in the gym, get them doing the weight training that benefits their cycling, benefits their football, their rugby, and everything else. And soon we'll have this, we'll be growing 15, 20, 25%, and our penetration rate into society will be so much stronger.
Yeah, and as soon as any investment into improving the experience will help deliver growth. That's my strong opinion. I mean, at the end of the day, a gym is a product, and the membership is the price to pay for the product. Make the product better, more people will buy the product. So the experience when you're in the gym is already getting better. Every kind of 3-5 years, you can see new things that are cooler, more engaging, help you get better results potentially. And I think I'm less about making it specific towards helping this person do that. For example, we all know the benefits of kind of transferring strength to sport, but you might not win just by that. I think you will have a better chance of winning if you just make the experience in the gym better for your member.
Absolutely. Now we'll leave that there. Just one final question I have for you, Sohail, and we ask all our guests in terms of inspiration. Now we don't mind who you choose, but is there one particular person, a group of people who inspires you to do what you do every day?
My children. They are the biggest inspiration by a country mile. So yeah, easy one to answer.
Fantastic. I can't disagree with that. It's great to see kids training. I mean, I got mine, all three of mine trained now. We obviously not allowed in the gym till certain ages, so managed to get them in, and they're loving it. So we're very much a sporty family. So really appreciate your time today, Sohail. Obviously, if anybody does want to get hold of you, obviously we'll put all your contact details at the end of the podcast. Obviously, you are one of the sponsors, so the details are also at the front. Just a quick one. Are you at any of the events this year, Elevate or?
We'll be at Elevate. We tend to have a presence at most of the events, but yeah, we will be at Elevate. But the best way to get in contact with us is probably my personal LinkedIn, Sohail Rashid, or search for Brawn Power. And yeah, we are, like I said, we're interested in speaking to gym operators around the Beta 200 program. So I presume a lot of your listeners will be operators that have an opinion on where they want the market to go, and their own opinion on the sector. So probably very valuable and relevant to them. And you can find details of the Beta 200 on the Brawn website, which is just brawn.co.uk.